Yo, yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch presented by Fantasy Phenom. I'm Kyle. That's actually Money Mike tonight. Back to recap a little bit of what's today? Thursday? Thursday's action, and look forward to Friday's 15 games. We got a 15 game all day slate and a 14 game main.
Yeah, I apologize yesterday. I wasn't looking like myself very much. It was just a rough day for me. So you kind of saw a disheveled Mike last night. But I'm back. I took a shower today.
Yeah, definitely a lower quality, attractive Mike.
Yeah, you got the HD version tonight. But in all seriousness, unfortunately, still kind of dealing with some issues post-surgery with my dad, so I was spending some time with him in the hospital. So well wishes to him if he's watching. I'm sure he'll be fighting this off soon.
Absolutely. And then I got to give, I know I've said this every night, shout out to Johnny today holding down the sheets. I appreciate it, sir.
Yes.
As you guys know, I was obviously working on the house. I was able to pop into the chat a couple times today, but once we really got rolling, I was gone. My line sucked ass. I played really light. I threw a couple darts in lines that I made last night without even looking at lineups. And so it goes to show. I mean, without research, typically that happens. So
yeah, I'm trying to tell you, in the weekends when I work, it's so tempting to play, but sometimes I know I have to scale back because, especially with baseball, the amount of data, the amount of time you really need to spend, especially if you're playing, some money, it's not just a couple dollars, it's not worth the time. I think if you're putting money down and you're not, you think you just can show up and play.
Right. No. It definitely. I mean, I've done this every day for the past couple of weeks. I mean, shit, I don't know the last time I missed a lock show, so it's been a minute.
Yeah.
But shout out to you guys in the group. I popped into the chat as much as I could, and I saw you guys chopping it up, holding down the community, throwing information out there. So mad props to you guys. We're still winning tonight. So,
Yeah.
You guys don't need me and Mike anymore. I'm sad.
So it's all about. Yeah, I mean, half those guys, know more than we do anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
it was good, man. The house is definitely the project. AC, we have an AC unit from like the 50s, so that's fun. Got to get that changed. We started painting today, and we couldn't get on the title. Literally, the banker or whoever it was, I don't know what the whole deal was, but we didn't get confirmation that we were on the title until 4 o'clock when we were done for the day. And so we're in the house tearing up carpet and painting the walls, all without not being on title yet. And so it was a little risky, but the one thing we didn't do was knock down any of the walls yet. And so tomorrow morning that starts, because now that we're obviously officially on title. So that's going to be a fun day. I will be around even less tomorrow. But
that'll be a lot of fun, man.
Shit, I'm excited, man.
I mean, you don't really need much, right? I mean, get a TV, the internet set up, maybe like a nice sound system, and you'll be good to go. You just like.
I already have my 7.1 surround sound system. I got it from my uncle for free. He had it back in college, and he's like, "Bro, I don't use this. Do you want it?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!" So I have it set up in my apartment right now. I got to take it down, but it's all Jimmy rigged. I literally have tape across the roof holding the wires up. So
now the walls will be opened up. You can set it all up nice.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
So
exciting stuff.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of exciting stuff, today was
a Monday.
I guess today was a weird one, man. Today was a weird one. Not a 5-game main slate. This is what we're looking at. I think, hindsight, it looks pretty simple. You played the two guys in the game that didn't score any runs, and you played all the bats in the game that scored all the runs. So, yeah, but it was just picking the games to do that. Ace of the slate, Felix Hernandez.
Don't tell Theo.
Oh, he already knows, I'm sure.
Definitely the high score of the day. There was no high scores today, man. Well, actually, I mean, Felix and Severino, but other than that, pretty shitty pitching slate. Um,
Yeah.
Wallace Chassin, 18.5. Mike Fultonewicz, 17.45. You have Severino and Felix at 28.7 and 26.35. And then anytime our fifth highest pitcher is 9.85, you know it's a bad pitching slate.
Now, make a mental note of this, guys, because
Yo,
5-game slate.
Hold on. Shout out.
Hold on.
Marcus Flowers pitched Felix and Severino, turned $16 into 247.
That's what I was just about to say. Make a mental note of this, guys, because on a 5-game slate, if you only have one game that is a pitcher's duel like this one was, this is going to happen, right?
Yep.
And you kind of saw this kind of coming. I think if you looked at the slate as a whole, you could have definitely predicted one of these games being a pitcher's duel.
And there's nothing wrong with throwing two pitchers at each other if you think it's going to be low scoring and there's K upside.
No, Seattle lost this game, and Felix is our ace of the slate, or at least of the day. So there you go. 9 Ks, 3 hits, 2 walks. Definitely a solid outing.
Absolutely. And then we have our bats, and I'm surprised that more Royals aren't on this list, but I guess that's just a testament to what they do. Everybody contributes. Brandon Moss stays hot. Eric Hosmer, 25 points. King of the day obviously goes to Adam Jones, who ties actually with Eric Hosmer on DraftKings. Mm-hmm. He gets the edge for being a slightly higher score on FanDuel. But then you have 2 Orioles with Jones and Scoop. You have Napoli and Yasmani Grandal wrapping out the top 5.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I mean, there are people right on the heels of these guys. I mean, Brandon Moss, minimum salary was only 2 points, only scored 2 less points on FanDuel. Shin-Soo Choo is right there as well. Sal Perez, Whit Merrifield, Mike Moustakas were all like in the top 10 in scoring today. So pretty much if you stacked Royals or the game in Camden Yards and played Severino and Felix, that was the way to go. So that's what I was saying at the top. I mean, you picked the game that was a pitcher's duel. You picked the game you thought was going to be a game stack, and that was the slate today.
And you know
Seems easy when you think about it.
You know what's funny is that game started out as a pitching duel. It was like 1-2-1
like
the
5 innings.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it exploded. But yeah, I feel it, man. I definitely feel it. Royals scoring 16 runs. No one saw that coming. If you stacked Royals, shout out to you. Also, bro, so Dan is the new shit, apparently. Shout out to him. He now has his own we now have an arcade channel in the River Chat because it's gained so much traction because Dan's been killing it. So I got to give him another shout out for holding down that.
I do, though, feel like we're just waiting for someone to do that, because it's hard to play arcade mode when you're spending all this time, investing in
the regular
studying the regular slate. And so people, you would try it, but it was hard to commit to it without, some guidance. And so shout out to Dan. I mean, definitely the flavor of the week.
Yeah, dude, definitely. So good shit, Dan. I appreciate you helping out the community and holding down that arcade, man.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Marcus says Dan is the fucking man. It's a natural progression after that. I love it.
It's definitely a totally different strategy playing those games, and again, different scoring, different salary. So a lot of times you can go in there and look at it and kind of be put off in a sense.
It doesn't make sense if you're looking at it from if you're used to regular and you have no experience, the salaries will just absolutely throw you off, and it'll be hard.
So we have that free roll now if you want to get started playing arcade, without investing any money.
Absolutely.
So there's that. Well, there's that for every sport. So.
True that. All right, so we got St. Louis and Chicago Cubs. Carlos Martinez, Jake Arrieta, old-fashioned, or I guess their respective well, I don't know if they're the respective aces at this point. I mean, Carlos is, but I don't know what Arrieta is at this point. But just saying. It's only on the all-day slate. I don't recommend ever playing all-day slates personally. I don't ever do it, but feel free to. If you do that for tomorrow, I still don't think I stack either side here or pitch either side here.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't see the reason to play this. The good old Chicago matinee.
Yeah. I think that they have to have the most day games of any team, right?
Yeah, they used to only play day games. So it took a long time for them to get the lights and everything set up. Okay. They like to keep that tradition at Wrigley.
You think they'll ever put a new field there?
I don't know. No, I'm sure it will stay there. I mean, they'll probably renovate and stuff, but they won't ever knock it down.
Oh, all right. This is my favorite spot on the slate tomorrow. The very first game of the day is Houston-Baltimore. So, Houston goes back on the road. Check. Houston gets Ubaldo Jimenez. Check. Ubaldo can't throw fastballs. Check. Houston's the best fastball hitting team in the league. Check. I mean, do I need to check anymore? Besides missing Carlos Correa, I don't see a letdown here tomorrow, man. I see them picking right back where they left off. A positive ballpark as well.
Yep, definitely. Everything kind of checked. All the boxes get checked in this game. Ubaldo Jimenez is someone we always like to go after. I mean, every single time he goes out, I mean, he's had those random days. But against Houston and Baltimore, like you said, what they do on the road this season, and if you look at as a team, how they rank in baseball versus the fastball, they essentially lap the field. They're like a plus 90, and the number 2 is like a plus 40. Ubaldo has a four-seam fastball that he throws like almost 60% of the time, and actually Baltimore as a team throws the fastball the 4th most in the major leagues. So you're thinking about their entire pitching staff with the bullpen included. Definitely going to be paying up. It's not like as gaudy as it once was. Gaddis heating back up. Gonzalez getting regular playing time, helping him.
Bro, I love Gaddis on FanDuel for $2,800. Good God, how is he that cheap? Josh Reddick's only $2,900. Carlos Beltran, $3,100. I love Jake Marisnick on FanDuel. He's still fucking $2,500 if he plays tomorrow. Yuli is creeping up there on DraftKings finally. He's now up to above 4K. So it's not cheap. It's not cheap, but I have a way of making it fit with all these aces on the slate.
Now I know they brought up someone. So when Correa went down, they brought up some. I think it was some middle infield depth.
Third baseman, yeah. I forget his name. Clint made a post on it in River.
I would not be surprised if Marwin Gonzalez continues to hit well and continues to play every day because he's played almost every. Exactly. I mean, he does. He's going to be the everyday shortstop, I imagine. Yeah. If they bring Derek Fisher back up, remember what he did in that cup of coffee he had in the majors?
Yeah, dude. Well, he's now being talked about in Sonny Gray talks. I'm sure that that was such a good move on the Astros' part to bring him up. There was no risk involved. Had he not performed well, just send him back down. But now that he did, all of a sudden, teams see flashes of that potential, and they're like, oh shit, trade prospect.
It provided so much legitimacy to his rankings of from scouts and such. Just having that 4-game stretch in the majors. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he's the better call up, than some middle infield depth. Maybe I don't know this 25-man roster that well, but it just seems like any excuse would be the right move. And then Mike Fiers, man, I can't not discount what he's doing. I will play him just because I know when I do, he's gonna get blown up. Like I just know that's gonna happen. Right. I guarantee that the time that I decide to be like, all right, I'm a believer in you, he's gonna get blown up.
Well, so
now, do I think it's a terrible spot? No. I mean, look at that K rate in the last 2 starts.
Here's the thing, though. Baltimore 9 runs today, I believe 13 yesterday, and 10 the day before, something like that. I know they've scored double digits the past 10 yesterday, 13 before that. So they're arguably one of the hottest teams in baseball right now, at least over the past couple games. We know Fires has blow-up potential, but he's also been pitching, fantastic, under 200 average
Yeah.
against him. So I'm with you, man. I'd love a Houston stack, but I think if you really wanted to be contrarian in this game, a Baltimore stack will be low owned. I promise you that, but it's not. I don't think I go there.
I mean, you talk about the battle of regression coming.
Yeah.
This Baltimore lineup and Mike Fiers, two guys that I think
Baltimore should
peripheral
be trending,
statistics.
Yeah, Baltimore should
would
be trending
say.
up, and Mike Fiers should
And
be
they are.
trending down. Yeah, which he's not yet. So I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Milwaukee, Philadelphia. Now here is one of my favorite pitchers. He's actually no, he's not my favorite. He's my second favorite pitcher on this slate. Aaron Nola gets the Brewers away from Milwaukee. We know they strike out a ton versus righties. I mean, they strike out a lot versus everyone as is. Their worst power split is away versus righties. Of course, this isn't exactly a pitcher-friendly park, Citizens Bank Park, but Brewers have not exactly been on a tear last couple weeks. They're striking out pretty regularly. Aaron Nola holds a 28.6% K rate last couple starts, a little better than his season line of 24.7, and he's cheap on DraftKings at 8,400, FanDuel 9,100. I don't know that he's that much of a price saver over some of the other guys, but on DraftKings, I love him. If you can start your SP1 with Aaron Nola, and there's some other guys you can pay down to at SP2, you can stack Houston very, very easily.
Yeah, they just saw him. I think in his last start. Aaron Nola was in Milwaukee. Now they go back to Philly. Played pretty well.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say played pretty well. 6 innings, 2 earned. I think he struck out 7 or 8. We all know the Brewers, second in the league in K percentage over the course of the year, top 3 in swing strike rate. Aaron Nola coming into his own a bit. So I think things match up well. You look at the pricing, like you said, a little bit more of a discount on DraftKings, and there are a couple options there in that upper mid tier. But I think you're right. There's some upside in this play, and he's been playing well as of late.
He's also better at home than he is on the road, which is odd, being that it's this park. And Milwaukee has been playing kind of their B lineup as of late. Obviously, there wasn't any Thames or Braun today. Aguilar played the other day, which, he's not I wouldn't say he's a B player, but you talk about righty-lefty splits. Aaron Nola absolutely shuts down righties. He's got an xFIP of under 3 versus righties this year, so definitely a spot I'm looking at. If the Brewers roll out a righty-heavy lineup again tomorrow, it's going to be hard not to play him.
Yeah, the only concern that I have is that they just saw him a little bit. But, he's got swing and miss stuff. He throws a curveball 31% of the time, so he's still developing to be have more of like a repertoire as a pitcher. But I don't know. I think it's a good spot tomorrow. I think there's definitely some upside there.
Oh, we got Miami, Cincy, Jose Urena, and Homer Bailey. I think you got to look at a Cincinnati stack against Urena, and I think you got to look at a Miami stack against Cincinnati. I think this game also has some game stack potential in it. Giancarlo Stanton is 5,300 on DraftKings and 43 on FanDuel. Definitely some dynamic pricing taking place there. He just murdered the Phillies in that series. He's been hot overall.
I think he has 8 home runs in the month of July, 9 home runs in the month of July, something like that.
And that includes the All-Star break as 6-7 days of July, 5 days, whatever it was.
Right. I thought you meant like the home run derby too.
No. I would just say take out those days that he wasn't.
No, playing. Yeah, I know. Exactly.
And Homer Bailey is a reverse splits guy, through and true.
Who gives up a ton of home runs.
To everybody, yeah. So Stanton, it's going to be hard to fade him tomorrow. Who would you rather play, Stanton or Springer, as a one-off?
Ooh.
As a pure
That's
one-off,
tough.
As a pure one-off, I think I'd go Stanton. Springer fits a stack, though.
I agree.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Would you rather stack Houston or Miami?
I'd rather stack Houston.
Okay, I'm with you as well.
Yeah, but I do like a game stack, like you said. Jose Urena has still not pitched to the 6th inning this year. 14 starts. So,
yeah.
And it's not really by design too. If you look at the pitch counts, it's just
he's just not efficient.
He just labors through it. Yeah. I mean, he's pitching to a below sub-4 ERA, which I think was a surprise to them. I don't think 14 starts for him was the recipe this season coming into the year for the Marlins. But so he's been a surprise. But as far as DFS in this ballpark, I think I'd rather go the Marlins, but I can see why you would want a game stack too.
Absolutely. I think you can definitely stack against Urena. Cincinnati's got a ton of upside at home, so.
True.
All right. This is my play tomorrow, Mike. He is 7,100 on DraftKings and 77 on FanDuel. Again, I don't know that he's a FanDuel play because of all the aces on the slate, but I fucking love Steven Matz tomorrow. I'm looking past his recent starts, which have not been great, and I'm looking straight here. Oakland away versus lefties. Good God.
Mm-hmm.
A 109 ISO, 182 average, 27% K rate, home run per fly ball of 8.7%. I love Steven Matz tomorrow.
Yeah, I do as well. We are obviously betting on a bounce back. That last game against Colorado was not pretty. He didn't make it, I think, to the 2nd inning maybe. I don't know. It was terrible. But we know what Oakland can do as far as striking out. They, like you said, on the road versus lefties have been awful this year. I'm sure that is a small sample size, but even if it's 5 starts, 6 starts, they're facing a guy that relies on his slider as his out pitch, and that Oakland is one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in baseball, at hitting the slider.
Even if you look at just lefties in general, because these stats down here are lefty-based. They're not away versus lefty, home versus lefty. Look at these ISOs. There's 2 guys, Yonder Alonso, Ryan Healy, that are above 120. The K rates are just gaudy. Marcus Semien, 25%. Jed Lowry, 25. Chris Davis, 32.
Mm-hmm.
Yonder Alonso, 23. Bruce Maxwell, 36. Jacob Brugman, 33. Matt Chapman, 67. Rajay Davis, 20%. I'm looking at their bench. So, lefties in general, they strike out a ton versus. And so, I love Steven Matz's upside tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, he really has kind of transformed his pitching. He's dropped in velocity. He's, expanding the pitches he's throwing. And so we really haven't seen this season, a high strikeout game from him, and that would be the concern. He had one game where he struck out 8 Dodgers, but other than that, he hasn't struck out more than 4 in a start this season. But it all sets up well for him. The price is right. So,
do you think he gets ownership as an SP2 tomorrow with these aces on the slate, or do you think people look at what he did last time and are like, nah, I'm not going to touch him?
Yeah, I think he will, because, I mean, you look at the usual opponents people like to stream against. Philadelphia gets Matt Garza. I don't think he's going to be an SP2 option. The White Sox get Ian Kennedy, so maybe he could be an option. But yeah, Oakland is another team that people know strike out a ton.
Yeah.
So we talk about Milwaukee with Nola. I think Matz is right there in that same conversation, man.
Yeah. So the 2 guys I have currently paired are Matz and Nola. I'm not paying up for pitching tomorrow. There are a couple guys, if I was to pay up, I like, and we'll explain those. But spoiler alert, not paying up for pitching tomorrow.
And you can if you wanted to stack if you want to stack the teams that we want to stack tomorrow, you really can. So I think those 2 pitchers have the matchups that can give the benchmarks of 7 or 8 strikeouts.
And then just continuing with this theme, I am a huge fan of Alex Cobb tomorrow. He has back-to-back 20-plus point DraftKings games. He's 7,400 on DraftKings, I believe. He's right between Nola and Matz. And so if I need a little bit of salary savings from Nola, I have zero problem going down to Cobb. Texas has been dreadful their past couple games before today. On the road, they're just not the same team. They're striking out a ton more away versus righties than they do at home. You're looking at 26%, under a 300 WOBA. So I love Alex Cobb, who, like I said, has been pitching well right now. He's in a hot streak, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and speaking of benchmarks, we talk about 7, 8 Ks, but getting into the 7th inning is huge as well. When you talk about DFS scoring, Alex Cobb has pitched into the 7th inning in each of the last 5 starts, and into the 8th inning in 3 out of the last 4. That's what you want to see, and I think you look at his ground ball rate is up, his walks are down, and that to me speaks to efficiency, right?
100%.
Now, the K's haven't really been there. They come at times, and I think this is definitely a matchup that he can strike people out. But, Texas is, a much more formidable opponent right now, I think, than Milwaukee and Oakland, like we just mentioned. So when you talk about sizing up the opponent, I think Cobb falls out of those 3. But you talk about recent performance, and you talk about efficiency, and maybe the best overall pitcher of the 3. Actually, I think Nola's probably the best pitcher of the 3, but he's definitely in the conversation. He's also in the same price tier, so I don't think either of us would have any problem if you want to go there. And we might. Yeah. I think. If you study a little bit more.
Kind of where I'm at right now, so I always build a preliminary lineup before I come on the show, just because I like to find pricing and kind of what I can do. Literally, if I play Nola and Matz, I can stack. I have the same exact offense as I do with Cobb and Matz. The only flip I have to make is I go from McCann to Gaddis, and that's dependent on if McCann plays. If McCann plays, I'll go McCann Nola. If McCann doesn't and Gaddis is in, I'll go Gaddis and Cobb. So that's literally my entire lineup stays the same with the rest.
And I wouldn't recommend playing McCann as a one-off. He's just strictly a...
No, he fits a stack.
Stack play. Yeah, he's not been good.
100%. He just fits a stack. But I like Nola a little more than Cobb. I think it's a less... No, I don't want to say it's less risky. I think Texas has been worse than Milwaukee. But, yeah, I just think Nola is a little bit better.
Either way, a lot of really good pitching plays in that price tier. And we haven't even talked about all of them. Just to touch on Darvish real quick.
I was just going to say. You hear he's being chopped?
They've been talking about it all year, but Texas is so, and they haven't made very good deals, in my opinion. They always want too much, and then they realize they're not going to get it, and then they settle. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't know what they'll get for him. I don't think he's worth top prospects right now.
That's what they're going to want.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't view Darvish as like I need a your number one prospect kind of guy. Personal opinion.
Yeah. Me neither. Totally agree. Same with Sonny Gray. If I'm the Astros, I wouldn't give up Doug Fisher for him.
You know what though? Here's the thing with Sonny Gray though, or the Astros. The Astros I think are the favorites for the World Series, right? And if the goal of the sport is to win a championship, I think you do what you got to do to get there, right? They're talking about literally depleting the farm system to get Sonny Gray and Zach Britton right now.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They're setting themselves up to win the championship this year, and they still have a young core. So even though they don't have and I quote, farm system, most of their farm system is in the majors right now, right? Their team as a whole is still entirely...
They're built to win now. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I think if I'm the Astros, I personally, you do what you got to do to put yourself in the best shot to win this year, because they're already favorites, and if you can solidify that even more, I think you make it.
If we're talking Darvish or Gray, I think I'd rather have Darvish than Gray. You look at his career, home road, take him out of Oakland and put him in Houston, I'd be a little bit concerned. Darvish is second in the majors in strikeouts.
That's true.
Or in the AL in strikeouts.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this trade deadline shakes up. I think it's going to be a fun one this year.
Yep, I think so too.
We got Toronto and Cleveland, Marco Estrada and Trevor Bauer. Marco Estrada cannot shake the home run bug, man.
He has fallen off, man. Coming in on 5,800, I think, on DraftKings. 5,700. Wow. I mean, I think if you want to take a stab down there, he's probably the guy. I mean, this is a guy that was 8, 9K for most of the season. Fly balls are up big time for him. He's tried to change the way he's pitching, and it's not working out for him. I mean, he does have K upside, so at 5,800, maybe, but this isn't really the spot.
I was going to say, I don't think Cleveland strikes out enough for me to go to that. You know what I mean? I just don't see enough K upside in facing Cleveland. Plus,
not on a 15-game slate.
Cleveland's best split is at home versus righties. This exact.
Yeah, I'm definitely on a wait and see approach for him, but it's an interesting buy low candidate. Trevor Bauer deserves to be priced low because he's not good. Justin Smoke hit 2 more home runs today, so everyone thought he was going to cool off, and it is almost August, people.
Yeah, he's legit, man. Do you stack Toronto against Bauer tomorrow, or do you stack Cleveland? I mean, I think they're going to go low-owned stacks, both sides.
Man, I don't see how Jose Bautista is still 4,300. Josh Donaldson still 4,200. These two guys at the top of this order. They're the reason Toronto is where they are in the standings, man. They need production of those two guys to win, and it's not working out.
They're priced so like they are producing, which they're not.
Right. Exactly.
So
definitely not worth it to me.
Jose Ramirez, Brantley, Zimmer, if he leads off, I like that against Marco Estrada. But It's not my favorite stack of the day. Just throw that out there. Detroit and Minnesota, Irvin Santana and Anibal Sanchez. Do you think Sanchez kind of hit that wall and we see the regression, or do you think he can continue being efficient enough to not stack against?
I'll stack against him. I mean, you know, Minnesota obviously throws a ton of lefties out there. I don't know. I just feel like, do I want to stack there? I think you can. I mean, they're always cheap enough to do it. But not my favorite stack either. And then against Irvin Santana, I don't want to stack there. I think you can kind of look to some of these bats who have been playing well.
Yeah.
But
I find myself more on a game faith entirely here. I know that Detroit's been hot, but they're not the same team on the road. I don't like Santana enough to pitch him, so not going there. Houston against Anibal, I can get behind a little bit. If I had to pick a situation from this game, it would be stack Houston. Of the 4 options,
Detroit, Minnesota.
I'm sorry, Minnesota. I'm so on Houston that
stack Houston in every game.
Just stack Houston. But yeah, I think that if I had to pick, that would be where I go. But it's a game fade for me. You mentioned Ian Kennedy, who's been pitching pretty well. You know what? Ian Kennedy has actually quietly had a very serviceable year. I mean, he's got a 206 average on the year, Mike. I think he, aside from a couple bad starts, he really hasn't been bad. And you talk about Chicago versus righties is not good. Away versus righties not good. In a pitcher's park like Kauffman Stadium, you think Kennedy's in play?
The problem with Kennedy has been the long ball this year. Is really the only kind of mistakes he's given up have been home runs. He's given up, let's see, I think it's 19 home runs in 17 starts this season. But I don't know, he kind of reminds me a little of Alex Cobb. He's priced in the same range. He gets a team that strikes out a ton. He doesn't have incredibly high, K rates, but he works efficiently. Again, he's pitched into the 7th inning in 3 of his last 4 starts. So I think there's some definite comfort about this start with Kennedy against the White Sox.
I think he's a guy that goes low owned.
Yeah, him and Cobb would definitely fly under the radar.
Actually, let me ask you this: who gets more ownership as an SP2 option for cheap? With the aces on the hill, Ian Kennedy or Steven Matz?
Steven Matz.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I think they're both going to be below Nola and Cahill, to be honest with you.
You think
all in the same price range?
You think Nola's that SP2 tomorrow?
I honestly think if I was to predict the ownership, I think it would be Cahill in San Francisco.
I can see that. I mean, San Francisco's pretty bad. If you guys want to burn money, just go to a Giants game or stack the Giants if you can't make it out to SF, because you're throwing your money away doing either. So, word of advice. If you guys just have extra money lying around.
Yeah, I have a little bit of that. Let's. I'll make a point of that. Is there anything any way that I should do it while I'm there? Is there like a proper way that people have been doing it?
Just wasting your money going to the game is good enough, man.
So you just kind of hand it to them, and then they have a big fire behind them?
The team is the dumpster fire.
That's how it works?
The team's the dumpster fire.
Oh, so there's a big fire on the field. I haven't been watching their games, so I haven't noticed the fire or anything.
Yo, for what it's worth, I didn't stack Giants. Marcus just made a point. He's like, Theo warned me on the show. I didn't stack Giants, but as an alternative to actually going to a game if you're not in San Francisco, stack them instead and see how your money burns.
I feel like there's at least 30 better things to do in San Francisco.
I hate San Francisco. I can't fucking stand that place.
Okay. Let's not go on that tangent. But Cahill, what I was trying to... We'll get to that. I just feel like he's the guy that will get most of the ownership at SP2 if people are paying up to both pitchers.
Fair. Do you think people chase Kansas City against James Shields?
I will. Why not?
You gonna do it?
Shields has given up a 56% fly ball rate to lefties this season.
Yes.
And so give me some.
Per 9.
Yeah, so give me some of these lefties again. Like you said, Brandon Moss is hot. Eric Hosmer and Moustakas, did they both go yard today?
Haas did. I don't know if Moose did, but Brandon Moss is hot as fuck.
Yeah, no, Moustakas was 3 for 4 with 3 ribbies. So, yeah, I definitely think you can, man. I don't see why not. The prices they're all under 4K. James Shields has not been that great this year. You look at the hard contact recently, or over the course of the season even. Definitely think you can go there.
Fuck, they're gonna be chalk as fuck tomorrow. With the aces on the hill. Anytime a low end stack, god damn it, Kansas City's gonna be chalk. I'm gonna fade them if they're chalk.
Maybe just you play Hosmer, or you play Moss. I think Moss makes for an interesting value play. You pick the guy you think is going to be high owned so it doesn't burn you if you don't have him or something like that.
I mean, at this point, Moss on FanDuel, 2,300. I don't know how you don't play that if you need value.
Right. So even if he is high owned, Yeah. Value play.
So, here's my other stack. And I started on the other side here. So, I wanted to be a little contrarian. I was like, you know what? I'm going to stack Pittsburgh in Colorado. And then I remembered that Pittsburgh's been fucking ass. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. Starling Marte, I preached it for like the last 3 games they've played. I was like, oh, spark plug. Pittsburgh's going to get hot. And then he strikes out 4 times. And so, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. So, I love Colorado. And right now, I have a Colorado and Houston stack in my lineup. I don't know if Blackman plays, but Nolan Arenado, if you can fit him, do it. Carlos Gonzalez, I know he's been pretty bad, but he's a cheap play on DraftKings at 3,500. We know his upside. Trevor Williams has not been fantastic versus lefties. There's that. And then Gerardo Parra has been on another level right now. And
Lock him in
Colorado,
at this point.
yeah, exactly. I would kick myself if Arenado and Parra went off tomorrow and I didn't have them, and, and I stacked Pittsburgh instead. So um, those two guys will be in my lineup in some way or another. If I was to stack Pittsburgh, I think you got to look at McCutchen. I like Bell. Pittsburgh is still, bro, they are way too cheap for a Coors game on both sides. Gregory Polanco's 38 and 36 versus Jeff Hoffman, who's not been good at home.
I would venture to say that this Pittsburgh stack will be more of a cash play than Kansas City because of the pricing in the ballpark against a team against Jeff Hoffman, who's been terrible at home, and is still a young pitcher. So, minus his first three starts in the majors, he hasn't struck out anybody over 5 times. Haven't had more than 5 strikeouts in a game.
And Pittsburgh doesn't.
I don't know. I just feel like they don't exactly. So I think I could see at this pricing Pittsburgh being popular.
Well, if that's the case, then I'll happily just stack Colorado. But I did start my lineup with a Pittsburgh stack tomorrow. Call me crazy. I know they just burned me like 3 days in a row, but I don't know, man. I feel like they're gonna explode at some point, and I want to be on that train when they do. The Gregory Polanco is way underpriced at 3,600. Even on FanDuel at 3,800, he's way underpriced. Josh Bell, I think, is underpriced on both sides. Josh Harrison is 37 on both sides. I think that's underpriced. So I do, man. I like Pittsburgh's prices tomorrow.
Yeah, so do I.
God, Dan's gonna have a field day with Arcade tomorrow.
For what it's worth, like I said, the home road splits for Hoffman. He's got a 6 ERA at home, a 2.5 on the road. I mean, obviously, Coors factoring into that, but again, this game's at Coors. He doesn't have a terrible batted ball profile, if you look at it as a whole. Fly ball rate is worrisome in this park, and so I think that's probably the correlation there.
Yeah. And Trevor Williams has not been pitched bad at all. So it's not for lack of pitching well that I'm stacking Colorado. They just have been on another level the last couple games at home. And when Colorado's hot and they're at home, it's kind of a wrap. If they dud tomorrow, then I'll die with that dud. But if they go off, I think they can win you a GPP.
So we still are Stanton's the guy to pay up for 2 in the outfield over Springer and Blackman as a one-off.
As a one-off, yes, I would pay up for Stanton over anyone else.
Okay.
Springer fits my stack, so I don't have Stanton. But I might try and find a way to get Stanton in there. We'll see.
So if you were stacking Colorado and Houston, would you play Springer over Blackman?
Yes, I would. Blackman, I don't like hamstring injuries, and I don't know if he plays tomorrow. Even if he does, I don't like hamstring injuries. That can get injured really fast, especially for a guy like Blackman that likes to run. I think they would be dumb to play him tomorrow, personally. But
yeah. Well, I mean, he left the game in the middle of an at-bat. I mean, that's got to be pretty severe.
That's what I'm saying, right? To me, that is not I don't want to take that risk, spending $5,700 for a guy or $51 on FanDuel for a guy that can leave mid-game just by trying to leg out a single. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't even remember the last time I saw someone have to leave the game in the middle of an at-bat. You know
what was funny? I didn't know this about baseball. Pat Valika came in on the 0-2 pitch, right? And he swung and hit a ball right up the middle. And the announcers were saying this was a win-win situation for him. If he struck out because he came into the at-bat down 0-2 already, he inherited Blackman's 0-2 count, the strikeout would have gone against Blackman. But because he got the hit, the RBI goes to Valika. So literally, he could not have lost in that situation. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. That's interesting.
So apparently, if you come into an at-bat, if you have to take over for an injured player and you're already down 2 strikes, the strikeout will go to the batter that was previously in there.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, now we get to the aces. All-night games. Max Scherzer in Arizona. Not my favorite spot for Max tomorrow. Arizona's heating up a little bit. The fact that they put up runs on the road is worrisome now that they're transitioning back to home. Home versus right splits are their best split. They hit the ball almost 40% of the almost 40% of the time. Their best power, 220 ISO. Now it is Max, and we know that Max is on another level. Interesting to see if JD plays tomorrow. Obviously didn't play today. Not sure how severe that hand injury is, or whether it was just precautionary. But then you have Zach Godley, which I don't really want to stack against either. He's been amazing at home. 122 average against at home, 208 WOBA, 23% fly ball rate. And he's been a reverse split guy, which is where a lot of the power comes on the lefties in this lineup. Goodwin's had shown some power flashes. Obviously Harper, Daniel Murphy, Matt Wieters, Stephen Drew. I mean, a lot of their lefties I'd imagine will play tomorrow. He holds a 16% fly ball rate to lefties this year. Not a spot I think I want to stack.
Yeah, but I also really don't want to play him that much either against Washington. I mean, he hasn't really looked that great as of late either. He's looked decent.
Yeah, no, definitely won't.
Definitely not in this ballpark. But like you said, Scherzer can do it any time, any place. He has double-digit strikeouts in 9 of his last 10 games. It doesn't really matter who he plays, where he plays them. So
the problem is even if he gets those double-digit strikeouts, is he, because Max is very capable of giving up 2 or 3 home runs, right? So the problem is, are they solo shots? And if they're solo shots, you can survive. If they're a guy on base, it becomes a little more devastating, especially if you're on FanDuel, where those runs can add up quickly and you lose that quality start.
He's been terrific on the road. 140 batting average against, 7 home runs on the road in 11 starts, so that's kind of what you were saying. And again, if you look at this ballpark traditionally, what it has allowed for hitters, and if you look at what Arizona, like you said, has done at home as far as their power statistics with that hard contact rate, I don't think this is the plus matchup for Max Scherzer. And I think you can kind of piece together with some other pitchers and save some money. And so I think that's kind of where we're both at tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm with you. So to be honest, I find this is a game fade entirely for me. Not stacking Arizona against Max. I really don't want to play Max. Not stacking Washington against Godley, but I'm not playing him. So
I can see that.
All right, so this I think this is the place to pay up for personally, in my opinion. Chris Sale against LA. At home versus lefties, a 105 ISO, 280 WOBA, a 27% hard contact rate. Cameron Maybin will not be in the lineup tomorrow. This will be, I believe they have Yunel Escobar leading off typically. Andrelton Simmons slides there. Martin Maldonado and Shane Peterson. So, a weak lineup gets even weaker without Cameron Maybin.
It's debatable.
I don't see how Sale doesn't have a good game tomorrow. I think if you're paying up, I would make it Sale. But
yes,
I'm not even gonna. There's no but to it. Sale's gonna have a good game. Again, the stacks I want, I can't pay up for Sale. So.
Yeah, I think this is a plus matchup for Sale, and I don't think it is a plus matchup for Scherzer. That's kind of what it comes down to me. You don't really have to look much into what these guys do as like, are they trending in the right direction, or they're giving up hard contact? No, they're just really good, actually. So probably the 2 guys that are win the Cy Young Awards. So you look at it, is this a good matchup? Is this a bad matchup? I think this is maybe a negative strikeout matchup. So maybe he strikes out 10 instead of 14 today. But that being said, it's cost-benefit analysis, right? What is the opportunity cost of paying up for Sale? Is there enough value to do it? It really kind of comes down to when lineups come out tomorrow. I mean, it's really hard to sit here and say we're definitely going to pay up for Sale, because if it handicaps your lineup to where you're putting definite zeros in there, it doesn't make any sense.
But
you can get a fraction of his points for better value elsewhere and get the bats that you want, that have a higher floor. And
There definitely is
yeah.
some value bets, as we mentioned, though. So, I mean, I think Sale still gets his usual ownership. I'm going to be interested to see what the ownership looks like divided among aces tomorrow. Typically, when we have a
Mhm.
lot of aces, there's always that one guy that stands out. I would guess it's Sale.
Right, but I would also make the case that it's more crowded in that upper mid range than it is at the top of the pitching pricing. Um, and so when you look at the slate landscape, you don't feel cornered into having to pay up for pitching tomorrow like you do sometimes when there's,
Mm-hmm.
say on a Sunday when there's 8 games and maximum sale around the slate. You kind of feel cornered into having to probably pick one of them, right?
It's true.
I don't really necessarily feel that way tomorrow. I think there's enough ways that you can go to still feel comfortable with your lineup. And again, maybe you don't equal the same output as far as like fantasy points, but overall, you get good value and you're able to elevate the floor of your lineup.
So how
Yeah.
I looked at tomorrow, because I saw all these aces, so I opened up, I opened up the app to make a lineup, and I saw like 4 aces, and I said, well, fuck this. So I went down to the mid tier, and I was like, I'm just gonna load up on bats. I'm not gonna try and figure out which ace is gonna score the most.
Yeah, speaking of that, Ricky Nolasco is on the slate, so it's an Enrique slate. Are you thinking about Boston at all? Hanley
Nope,
Ramirez has a couple home runs this week.
nope.
Um,
Ricky
this
Nolasco's
guy
killed me
gives
too
up
many times.
gives up a ton of home runs.
Not
Should I go
recently.
down with a ship like I did with Mike Fiers?
Don't do it, man. He hasn't given up a lot of runs recently, and Boston doesn't hit home runs as is. Don't do it.
Yeah, I know. I thought about that. Obviously, the way he beat Nolasco's with the home run, he gives up a ton of solo shots. But I guess the only guy I really look at is Hanley Ramirez for that reason.
Yep. Atlanta, Los Angeles. Alex Wood obviously was traded from the Braves to the Doyers. Dodgers lost their first game in 12 today. Had an 11-game
Hmm.
win streak come to an end. Alex Wood, bro, check this out. Over his last 3 starts, 7% hard contact.
Yeah, I think you definitely make the case of Wood over Sale. I mean, you would be saving, let's see, 1,600 bucks. Um, and talk about consistency. 11-0, 1.5 ERA, a
Was
WHIP of 0.88.
he's still only given up what 7 extra base hits this entire year? I
It's
think
been ridiculous, man.
2 were home runs or 1 was a home run. It's not. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not been fair.
I think it's 10, but still, I feel you. He's only given up 2 home runs all year,
Potato.
both on the road. So talk about consistency. This guy, I think, wouldn't handicap your lineup as much, and I would still feel comfortable playing him in this matchup. I think it's Jaime Garcia tomorrow, so you're going to get a lefty.
Well, no, so that's the thing. Jaime Garcia, they are finalizing a trade to the Twins. There's no way he plays tomorrow if he's in trade consideration.
Interesting. I didn't read anything about that.
Yeah, they have a trade almost finalized with the Twins, and I'm surprised that they still haven't updated it on either app. But there are talks of it, and even if it is like I said, just in talks, there's no way he plays tomorrow, risking that injury.
Absolutely.
So I saw
Trying to
Tehran.
see who they would.
Well, I saw Tehran was the next day's starter. I figured they'd push him up. That was my consensus behind it, but I could be wrong. I just didn't think they're going to pitch Jaime, so I threw in Tehran. But this is going to be kind of a wait-and-see approach.
Yeah, if I had more time, I'd probably do some research to see who the next man up would be. I mean, I know they have a great farm system. I think it's the best in baseball, so we might see somebody get a spot start, which would be interesting on this slate to get somebody at really, really cheap.
Yeah, not expecting.
Especially,
Neither side expected him to pitch.
Right, so it could be a little interesting way to pay, to pair with Sale, maybe.
But no, thank you. I don't care if it's fucking Chris Sale getting a spot start against the Dodgers. They've been ridiculous. No, I don't care what happened tonight. They're on another level right now. So, Yeah, see, Rob just said the same thing. Didn't Garcia just get traded to the Twins today? I don't think it's final yet, but like I said, I think they're in pretty.
Either way, yeah.
I don't see him playing tomorrow. So I took him out, and like I said, I don't know who's gonna pitch, so I threw in Tehran, who was the next day's starter. So that could change. But regardless, we're not pitching whoever pitches for Atlanta. And Alex Wood, as Mike mentioned, is a fantastic play tomorrow.
Yes.
New York.
He's pressed correctly as well.
True. New York and Seattle, CC Sabathia, Andrew Moore. Thoughts here? You going with your boy CC?
I don't think I'm not gonna pitch him, but again, I will strictly tell you not to play a lefty against him. That's for sure. So I'll see. It's gonna be interesting to see how they shake up this lineup. But yeah, I don't necessarily think I'm going to like full stack against him. You could probably pair some righties. Maybe they take Gamble out of the 2-hole, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him move Haniger up, but he's been cold.
They've been playing Guillermo Heredia a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll see.
So
I definitely don't full stack against him now.
I find this is a game fade for me in this park.
I could see it. I think I see a game like tonight.
Yeah. So wait, hold on. I just lost it. Did I say game fade or game stack? Because I meant game fade.
You said fade.
Okay, cool.
You said fade.
You
said game fade in this park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
One of my moves, man. You said the opposite of what you mean.
Right.
Double-digit home runs.
God damn it. And then
who's hitting double-digit home runs today?
If anyone, probably if Tehran pitches for Atlanta, Bellinger or Seager.
I was gonna say Nolan Arenado probably. 1 per inning.
Shit, dude. They scored, besides the 8th inning, they scored a run in every single inning that night, or that game.
How about these Padres, man? Asuaje, Jabari Blash. I mean, they're just calling them up, saying, you know what, we got the prospects, Russ, roll with it. And these dudes are hitting the ball hard.
I was going to say, on paper, Shark looks like a good matchup, but the way the Padres have been swinging the bat, no thank you. And they just got to Shark in San Diego. It's still a negative park shift, but not much. And so, no Shark for me. I can get behind Cahill, though, who holds a high K rate. He's been mad consistent all year, even after the DL. Giants don't strike out a ton, so limits upside there. But 8,300, very similar price to Aaron Nola. Cheaper on FanDuel than Aaron Nola. So I could definitely understand the case for going to a Cahill.
Again, I think he's going to be pretty popular. I mean, he just struck out 8 Giants and had a 28 DraftKings point performance in his last start.
Yeah.
In San Diego, went 6 2/3, gave up 1 run, struck out 8, walked 1, and he's been good. That's not like an outlier. You know, he's been very consistent since he's come back from the DL in those 3 starts. He's looked good at Cleveland, at Philly, San Francisco. Gets another good start here to build on it. If that is the case, I think I'd just rather go to Nola or Kennedy. I don't see Cahill being chalk worthy. And with Shark, I mean, someone needs to tell Shark it's okay to like walk somebody. Like he has a very, very low walk rate and a very high strikeout rate, and he just gives up home runs because he's stubborn, you know?
Yeah, he refuses to walk people. And, you know, me and Jeremy were talking about that earlier in the year. We were trying to figure out, like, why do guys with low walk rates have a tendency to get blown up? And it's because they refuse to walk people, and so they just throw get-it-over pitches and get squared up. Sometimes you got to walk a guy and just concede an at-bat.
Yeah, there's a difference between command and control. You know what I mean? Like, he has the control. It's not like he doesn't have command of his pitches. He has the, you know, he has the control. He just doesn't have I don't know. He just doesn't really. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like that's probably the reason he's giving up so many home runs. Is is he's not pitching around people.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't concede in a bat. He'll just throw it over.
Yeah.
So, definitely not stacking Giants. Like I said, I can see Cahill not pitching Shark. I don't know if I stack Padres, but you can make a case for it. They just got to Shark, so.
Yeah, I think there's better cheap stacks than the Padres.
Agree. All right, so to recap kind of where we're at, pitchers, obviously starting with those, I love Aaron Nola, Steven Matz, Alex Cobb, Chris Sale, and Alex Wood. And then, Are you on those same five?
Yeah, let me just make sure you said the same people. Steven Matz, Cobb, Kennedy, Nola, Sale. Is that what you said?
I said Wood over Kennedy, but I can get behind Kennedy as well.
Oh yeah, I like Wood too.
And then stacks, obviously Houston's number 1, Colorado's number 2. I still like the Pirates a little bit, so I can go there. Marlins stack against Homer Bailey. And I think a low-owned stack tomorrow is going to be a Cleveland stack against Marco Estrada.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I like Miami, Colorado, Houston, Kansas City. I'll say Baltimore too. Go game stack.
Okay. Gonna keep.
I was gonna say, do I go after Fires or Alaska with Boston? So I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's go with Baltimore.
Don't do Boston. So. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in again to the late night show. Of course, tomorrow and the next couple days again, we'll not have a lock show. Mike will be working. I will still be working on the house as I have to be moved out of here by Tuesday. So kind of pressing a little bit, but we'll make it work. And then shout out to the guys that are helping me again with the lines tomorrow. JC's going to help out. Johnny, I think, will help out again. And obviously into the weekend. So appreciate you guys as always. Appreciate you guys holding the community down and helping each other out. It runs perfectly smooth without us in there, so that is the awesome part about it. I don't think I have anything else. If you guys are interested in joining, of course, hit that little sign up button down below. Get you locked in. You get that free 7-day trial. Make sure it's for you, and if it is, welcome. More than welcome to stay aboard. If not, no harm, no foul. Hope you guys keep watching the YouTube videos. So have a wonderful day tomorrow. If you're watching tonight, have a wonderful night, and make it a profitable Friday.
Yeah, hope you guys have a great day. I'll be at work 10 days till the trade deadline. So we are in the dog days of baseball, man. It's great, good time. Hope we make some money tomorrow, and yeah, let's have some fun.
All right, guys, have a wonderful night.